So, welcome along, everybody. Hello, and welcome. I get something right here this evening because I have some gizmos and gizmos and everything here at 2S Season X. This is the Tier 1 / Tier 2. It's all merged together. We are here in Viva la Mexico. Welcome along to Northern America, United States of America. Also, the second shortest track on the Formula 1 calendar. I am the Biggles. Solo casting tonight. There's no productive panda in here. The productive panda is already in pit lane doing what pandas do best. I'm not quite sure. But we will definitely be going down to the track for some of the qualifying session. But just briefly before that, of course, we need to go over the standings in this championship because who's leading when and what and how? Well, obviously that man is leading Mr. Futuristic in the Alfa Romeo by points there. That's 139 over 126 there from Lavi. And then there's Snelly Hankey, I believe, there in the 101 points there in the third place for the Alfa Romeos, which surprisingly enough, when you do look at them, both of those drivers in the first and third in the championship, the Williams are actually leading this championship by 269.5 points over the Alfa Romeo team there. The 240. So it doesn't always come down to always scoring points individually. It always comes down to scoring points as a team. And I hope everybody is enjoying the new start to the week. We are on a Tuesday, of course, today, hopefully, wherever you are in this part of the world, as the drivers be getting ready for their qualifying session, which of course I think we definitely need to go down to see all the action that's going to happen around here in Mexico. And who bring your burritos, your tortillas, your tacos, whatever you need. One thing you do need is to set the quickest lap you possibly can around this 2.8 mile track. Once again, as I said, second shortest in the Formula 1 calendar. What is the shortest? Of course, you all know that. It's Monaco, but Monaco is not really a Formula 1 track anymore to me. It's just a glorified go-kart track. And you're just there for the champagne, the girls, the multi-million-dollar yachts, and that's where the drivers actually live as well. Welcome, Justin's World, Mr. Commentator. I'm saying this now. If I'm ahead of the championship rivals, I'm getting this place back since I'm a reserve here. Mr. Justin's, you're a reserve. Just have a look at where you are. You're Justin, the racer there, currently in P7 in the McLaren, sitting in the garage. Hanging out there with Jeff. Say hi to Jeff. Tell Jeff he owes me a beer because I called the weather report a lot better than Jeffrey did the other day. But what we do need to be calling right now is Tranquilo, as he's on a hot lap around Viva la Mexico. And through the first sector, he'll be crawling down here. A little bit of a back straight, as you can see on that track map. Good thing about, and then you get into this like crazy left and right section here as you go into these turns, sweeping around back to the right on the power. Not too much, just for a little bit. Try to use as much as the track as you can, and then two sweeping right-hand corners. And then once again on the power. And now you got a little bit of the S's. Of course, most of the modern tracks these days have these S's. This is the Mexico version of them. And he sweeps through it quite well. And then now into the almost in the third part of the sector right now, because that's how short and sweet it is here. And of course, this is one of the classics, isn't it? As you can see, the dog gets completely out of the way through the grandstand. Because, hey, if you were driving under a Mexican flag, that is the cheers you're going to hear out all the way. And down the back straight, you see a couple of drivers slap against that wall too if they don't keep it tight here this evening. But there it is. First time on the board will be a 116.4. 116.7 will go to the other gladiators out there. Well, the other gladiator driver. A little bit down there. Oop, I need to go over to Mr. Keyboard. This man's quick on a keyboard. We know you can see the way he's reacting on the keyboard. Now, a lot of people, I know I am a keyboard driver as well. No, it's difficult, but the really good keyboard drivers, as Mr. Keyboard himself there goes up into P3, find a way of just tapping the keys, tap, 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 left and right. It's digital, so it doesn't have analog movements. But this man right now, Snelly Hankey, bang, right up the top of timesheets, a 15.7. The first man in the 15s, but of course only early days here for the qualifying session. This man right now, that's Tranquilo. He's dedicated a second lap, I believe, on these tires. Currently, at the moment, the hot lap's not showing you, but it is showing you purple, Sector 1. A little bit down on time, and I mean a little bit down on time by like thousandths of a second. So really, he's going to be looking good at the moment to probably steal this one back away from the Alfa Romeo, as long as he doesn't get traffic up the road. He's made a mistake going in the pits. Says no biggles, not on my watch. Also as well from the Red Bull driver that actually was setting a purple sector 2. So very interesting between both of those drivers, electing not to set the quickest time just yet, perhaps on the softs, once they realize they have the pace. Perhaps they're going to try to change it around a little bit there. As Justin says, that Jeff will text me later. Thank you. Hope he does. He owes me. Dog of War, another McLaren driver. Your teammate out there, Justin, currently at the moment, even though you are a reserve, is going through his hot lap and has done his hot lap. Graphics and telemetry are all over the place this evening for me. So we'll just not focus on that too much at this point. As this is what it is here in Mexico. I will pause for a little bit, of course, because I'm the only solo caster and I'd like to save my voice. So I continue to commentate for the rest of the commentating that I'll need to do. Today, tomorrow, every day. We love F1. This man loves the medium tires and the Williams. And that's Jacob. Let's see what Jacob's time could possibly be for his first kind of flying hot lap here this evening. It's 1.9 off the bubble. 1.9 off the bubble. The bubble being itself a 115.7. As you can see, the top 6 gladiators here this evening are separated underneath that 1 second mark. And then the rest of the field probably haven't put their massively competitive times in their lava. It's got a 1.3, and we're still waiting for a couple of the other gladiators to get their way around the track there. And this gladiator of Justin, I was about to go on board, has set the purple sector 1, but unfortunately, that spin ladder, you're not going to get that. I have to do it all over again for the Frenchman. Stepping in as a reserve. Give me a bit of shout out there in the YouTube world. Well, mate, maybe I'll put you under the spotlight a little bit. You got plenty of time, of course, because there's still 12 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Exactly, Dragon is Spinlada. Welcome along. Where's the dragon? I thought dragons breathe fire. Do they breathe Mexican food around Mexico? This man could be breathing everything he needs to breathe. It's Agfar. And this guy, Williams driver, could be right at the top of the timesheets. Right on cue, he's up at the top of the timesheets. That's a 115.7. And that's 27 thousandths of a second quicker than Snelly. And he's got more pace to find. He's got the fastest middle sector. Snelly had the fastest third sector. I don't even know who's got the fastest first sector, because the times are all over the place. Caught in 4K. Exactly. I love it. Times are still coming in. Well, Justin, the man that said, well, we saw set the fastest first sector, has gone Biggles. All right. You want to see a replay? Let me show you a replay without the spin ladder. I'm going to show you how to get this McLaren around the track. In honor, of course, for Daniel Ricciardo, because he must love Australian drivers. Why wouldn't you? Daniel Ricciardo's super quick. And if you're in a McLaren, he's super quick. Thankfully, his teammate gets out of the way, because look at that, purple sector 1, purple sector 2. This is an impressive time. No traffic, good exit, spot the apex on the power. Try basically to slap the wall, but don't slap it, of course. Tuck up against the wall. This will be the quickest time. He's backed off. You are fooling with me. You are fooling with me right now, friend. That certainly would have been the quickest time, no doubt. You could see that on the screen. He's basically, what do you call it, Mercedes sandbagging. It's too soon. Can't be doing that yet, mate. It's not pre-season testing yet to go to throw that around. Still some other drivers putting some times in this evening. Hello. Along, everybody. Fun. 9 minutes and change to go as Kurt, geez, what do you, don't leave me into a commentary box by myself. I can never get names correctly. He's invalidated his lap anyway, as you can see on the track map, but this man hasn't, Mr. Keyboard Magnism, and he goes up into P9. Not bad for a keyboard driver. That's what Mark Webber would certainly say back in the day. Somehow today, I'm just rhyming everything, so I do apologize about that. It's one of those days, we've all been through it, but, you know, just keep rhyming things in your head over and over again. We need to write a song. Lavi is just backing off on his lap. I'm just trying to see if anybody else on a fly lap 28. I'm just looking through the telemetry information, all the goodies that I do have here. Might have to go to the car of P13 of Mr. Futuristic. Perhaps he can see himself into the futuristic future of getting himself up into some really juicy positions to start this race, which he will be right by his teammate. Goes up to P3. Alfa Romeo's looking pretty strong around here in Mexico. This is fantastic. The atmosphere is just absolutely brilliant. As Joel, that I just went on board with, said, Biggles, don't forget about me. The Red Bull driver shooting his way right, firing his way, rocketing his way up there. It's 5,000ths of a second just ahead of the Agfa. So very, very impressive time right there for the Red Bull. Just maybe a little bit of honor for Mr. Max Verstappen that wrapped up the Drivers' Championship. Of course, Red Bull did not wrap up the Constructors' Championship. And Toto's still somehow really, really upset about that, even though Mercedes did wrap it up. But Toto's just more upset about the Drivers' Championship than he is about actually doing his job, which he did quite well, obviously, this season. It came down to the wire. Well, not really. They wrapped up Championship before the last one. Yeah, definitely absolutely close out there, Dragon, between top four. That is separated by, I think by the time you even type those letters, that's how close it was. That's ridiculously fast. Of course, now in 2S, we've merged the tier 2s with the tier 1s. We've got the best of all that you can possibly provide here at 2S Racing. So all of the 17 gladiators will be here this evening. Vito doesn't see terminally damaged, so he's just retired from the session. It looks like there it is. So your first part of the qualifying is practically done. Drivers will come in, get some fresh boots on, and then the rest of this battle will occur. What's the weather looking like in the horizon? That's going to be interesting. My weather report is not going to show up on the graphics, but I will tell you currently what the weather's going to be look like. Overcast. 22% chance of rain during the qualifying session. Probably not going to come now with 6 minutes and change to go. However, the key is, will it rain during the race? Now, you guys know out there, Jeffrey owes me some money for a bet that I had with him because he's not really been calling the weather as good as what the old Uncle Jeffrey should be. And, well, he knows not to mess with Biggles when it comes to the weather because I had the telemetry. So, at this point, I don't know if the race will start on dries or winters. It's just ask the weather gods. You are on the highest altitude race in the Formula 1 calendar, so anything can happen when you're up in the clouds. Mexico, as we're on board of Icewind, just warming himself up for a flying lap straight onto the mediums, not even messing around currently at the moment with any other tyre compound. And you can see, I'll pull up the telemetry as well too, that he's saving battery, he's keeping it. It's full drive. Are you 100% sure about that there, Justin? Because this is called dynamic weather for a reason. There is overcast that I'm seeing, and that overcast can quickly turn. How many channel points do you want to bet? Yeah, I've got channel points on YouTube. I'm just curious to know. How about a friendly bet? You're 100%? Ah, all right. You'll be eating my words if you're wrong, mate. You'll be eating my words. You never, ever, ever mess with the Biggles when it comes to weather forecasts. Although I haven't promised you about the weather forecast yet for the race because that's still a little bit predicted. I'll tell you in about 4 minutes and 55 seconds what the weather will be. For now, I can tell you that there's some ice in the car of the Aston Martin as he's about to start his flying lap on the mediums. Very confident man saying, okay, well, I get myself into the top 10. I'm Mr. James Bond. I drive an Aston Martin. Oh, yeah, ice cold. Is that ice as in the Iceman? Ice cool, no mistakes. Gets it done every time around Mexico, but there it is right there. I've just cursed the poor man. He has invalidated. Thus, he'll have to do it again, but he can, of course, in the mediums. Who should we go to? Well, the old keyboard legend himself. As we know, he has pace, and he's doing it for the keyboard drivers like myself out there. Absolutely. You'll bet your championship in 2S. And all right, done. Signed. Shake my hand. That if it rains during the race, you're going to bet your championship. And I'll take it. All right, that goes to the 2S. So for once, Biggles might actually win a championship for the first time in my life ever. But you have to win the championship first, actually, to hand it over to me. But I'm going to take your points. How's that sound? As, keyboard, a little bit of a mistake doesn't really improve in his time. Currently, at the moment, Snell Hankey has first and second sector are personal best, as you can see on Hot Lap graphic, but you probably need to throw a purple in there if you want to see yourself on the top row. But still, 2/10 off, as you guys had predicted out there. It is ridiculously close, because you look at that right now. You're looking at 11 drivers separated by a second, and Snelly says, bang! I want a little bit of P1 currently in the moment, and you definitely have a little bit of P1. I did say at the start, the Alfa Romeos are pretty quick around here, and Snelly says, of course we are, Biggles. That's why I'm provisionally pole. Brilliant lap. And that's a statement to set. It's just milliseconds now, isn't it? 88 thousandths of a second. But once again, go down to Ocean Chief. That's 1 second separating the top 11 drivers. This is esports 101 right here. Pace, left, right, and center. You couldn't even cut a knife. Oh, you can cut a Tranquillo, having a little bit of a spin out. So I have no turn numbers up there, but that's your start of your S's, really. Your mid S's, per se, here in Mexico. But he's got time. Maybe 2 minutes and change to go. Tia was moved due to members in this way. Yep. Yeah, they were merged together. I'm just reading the chat out there as well. Thank you very much for keeping me occupied there, Justin. As a reserve, Justin, what do you think? You really haven't beat your P7 on the mediums. It's pretty good. Fastest first and second sector. But I think you sandbagged a little bit for the third one. So pretty sure you have some more pace there if you want to. Ocean Chief, well, this man's been on fire lately in some of the other leagues. So let's see if Ocean Chief can bring his, well, obviously the other leagues being SLR, which is obviously affiliated with this league. So we're all a community here, and this man has been blistering. He's basically setting a fashion statement right now in the AlphaTauri. As he's going to cross the line and improve his time, what will it be? Up into P8. Not really. The third sector made a little bit of a mistake for the old wise man, but hey, you can teach an old dog new tricks, because that man has been on fire lately. What about Futuristic? We know that the Alfa Romeos are super strong around here, because his teammate's currently on provisional pole. So let's see if he can get right up there and get a front row lockout, perhaps, for the Alfa Romeos. That would be something you don't see every day, but he gets P3. He'll probably take that one. That's going to put the old Agfa in a little bit of a pickle, being surrounded by two of some of the quickest drivers you're ever going to find on the planet, let alone 2S. What about Joel? Joel, we know Joel had some serious pace, but at the moment, he looks like he's made an error somewhere, because his first sector was okay. Actually, a little bit slower. His middle sector was... There it is. He's like Biggles. He didn't even set any purple sectors, by the way, on my telemetry software, and somehow still managed to get a provisional pole. He's sneaking something that we're not seeing in the FIA race control. But one thing he's seeing is provisional pole by 1/10, Snelly Hankey. But that could very much be stolen, because it ain't over until the last driver crosses the line, and that driver crossing the line right now could be Icewind, and Icewind could be crossing the line a little bit quicker than everybody else. He's certainly going to be right up the top of the timesheets, but where? Third team? I don't see what is going on there, because he had fastest middle... Man, my telemetry is definitely screwing with me today, because he had the fastest middle sector, and there's absolutely no way you don't have the fastest middle sector and not make any mistakes and not get up the top of the timesheet. Alavi, as you can see, going through the grandstand section right now, a couple of the other drivers completely getting out of his way. It gets really busy around there, and that's very, very admirable of those drivers to make sure they're not going to spoil somebody's flying lap. They're not going to spoil Lavi's flying lap, but will Lavi's flying lap get himself into the top 10 for the Haas team? He will get up into P5. Great result across the line. That's 2/10 off. That's what I remember. 2/10 is just nothing in this game. So I think every driver at the end of the day has to be very impressed with that. That now means we have 14 drivers on the grid currently within 1 second of the provisional pole time. And Tranquillo is there, but he's backed off completely and elected just to sit there in that P12 position, which obviously isn't too bad, because you get that tire choice. And Mexico is absolutely punishing, as you guys know, on mediums. As Justin said, he screws your medium time. Did you? Oh, it ain't over yet. Don't blink or Vinky, because if you Blinky Vinky might steal that provisional pole away from everybody and steal the pole. Here he is, on board with the AlphaTauri, car number 62. Fastest first sector. You can see that. It's a purple. We love it. And he's invalidated. And I might have just commentated Curse the Man. He was blisteringly quick. It is easy to do. That second sector caught him off. But don't take it away from him. We obviously know this man has pace. And, well, you don't get any points for qualifying. But you do get points for the race. So keep an eye out on him. Obviously, every session got cancelled. I'm not quite... Yeah, you guys are just chatting it out there. That'll be... Oh, wow. Blinky, did you really want to give your team that much work to do? Right for about 2 minutes to go before qualifying? Well, there it is. Qualifying will be over, and the AlphaTauri team are going to have to fix some important parts in his car quickly before he gets back out for the race. And there are your qualifying results there. So Joel, but does have somehow in race control have deemed that, you know, it's Red Bull. So apparently Michael Massey decides that he has to punish them somehow. Joel, well, pole will get dropped down to P5 there. So that Snell Hankey will get the pole. Aggie will get that P2, that futuristic Lavi, Blinky, Vinky, Cote, Justin, Ocean Chief, Kamar, Jacob, Tranquilo, Crystals, your Icewind, and let's just scroll all the way down the bottom. I don't get enough time, but sorry about it. We have a formation lap. Yeah, sí, gracias, señor. Oh, yeah, she's just giving me some tortillas. Lovely. Up into the commentary rocks. Absolutely fantastic. Muy bien. Muchas gracias. So, of course, yeah, you got to have the fine food here in Mexico. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Cervezas are quite good too. If you're of legal age to drink. If not, well, Heineken 0.0. I'll sort you out. Of course, if you really want something better to drink, get old-fashioned H2O. And I'm about to get my championship points, I think, for the first time in my career at 2S, because when that weather forecast comes in, Mr. Justin's going to have to eat his words. I'm really looking forward to this. It's getting spicy. Once again, those standings, I'll throw them up real quick. As you can see, as we're getting through the championship. As we're over, we just had the US, so we're doing the Americas. The next race will be in Panama. You guys weren't aware of it, but it's been recently just added to the calendar as of today. And I'll be hosting that race here in Central America and Panama. So, yeah, I hope you guys get your track guides and practice in, because you don't even know what the track looks like yet. I have just about finished drawing it up. So as soon as I finish that, you'll be able to... perhaps look at it. You won't be able to drive it, but throw you in the spanner in the deep end really quickly, really spice it up. After that, you'll probably head down to Brazil. So there are your starting tires. Interesting. Blinky. Blindy Winkel is going to be the only driver. Top 11. I think we're starting on the medium tires as noisy traffic in the background. Welcome to Panama. Tranquilo on the hards, as well as Mr. Keyboard. That's going to be something to look out for. A lot of drivers that I've spoken to up in the commentary box, down in the paddock, there's some drivers out there that just say, look, you couldn't pay me enough money. I'll never go to hards, because I'll never go to hards. They're just a horrible tire. Perhaps around here, that could work out quite well. Then again, 17 drivers on the grid. It is Mexico, short and sweet. There is a possibility of safety car that will flip things around a little bit, give some of these drivers with the soft tire compound an opportunity to perhaps get an early pit stop and get rid of those tires. If you're really going to think about it at the end of the day, then if you look at the tire graphic performance from Snelly's qualifying, he's used about 4% of his tires from his flying lap qualifying. So we'll keep an eye on that, obviously, as they're going to get deeper into this race, just to get an idea of what's going to work and what's not. And I really don't like calling race starts, but today I have to. And I will. Should. Actually had some notes prepared, but I can't even bring them up right now because I don't even think I can see it. But we're going to see it in a second. Hopefully. Yeah, we will. Because, well, it is The blood is pounding. The adrenaline is anticipating. When those lights go out, it's time for some racing here in Mexico. And it's got to be racing because it's a good launch from both of the AlphaTauris, but an even better launch there from the Red Bull driver. So there it is. They're going to get P1, P2, P3, but Lavi's in the mix there as well, saying Biggles, like, you know, don't forget the Haas. We all know the Haas has the future of the spending all those points on it. Oh, well, there is one of the other drivers going around at the moment. So there it is at the moment. There you got Ag leaving from Lavi, Snell Hankey there, Kurte. So both the Haas actually at P3 and to P2, P3, P4. Blindy, Justin's up and into P6 there. Both of the Red Bulls P7 and P8. But so far, so good. And look at Lavi. He wants a piece of it, but they're 1.7 seconds down the road at the moment. He's kind of trying to defend off Snell Hankey, but doing quite good. Let's have a look at those position gainers and losers. You can see that at the moment. Snell Hankey losing two positions gained for a lot of those drivers. 2 down from Joel, and Keyboard up to 3-11 Futuristic. That was the spin that we saw from the other Alfa Romeo. So both Alfa Romeos not doing a pretty good job at the moment, but there it is. Justin in the background looking like wants to get past the Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri. Not quite yet. No DRS is enabled. Very, very short track. We're almost into lap 2 already. And there is Joel, I think, off in the background. No, it's Kamil. Or Kamid. There he is, spinning around. That's a common little error that people get when they get cold tires and loud on the loud pedal. And, well, Agfa's off into another planet at the moment, but who is not into another planet? This battle right now because Snelly wants it back from the Haas driver. Will he get it? Coming around into turn 1, turn 2, and sweeping into a turn 3. I don't think he's got it just yet, but certainly put the pressure on. Live, he's got him covered off at the moment, and because he put the pressure on, maybe he might be under a little bit of an attack here from P4, P5. You can see that Blindy and Kurte are also battling it out side by side as I'm looking fantastically over the rear wing of the Alfa Romeo, and you can see also in the background Justin is thinking about any mistake right now those drivers make. Justin's going to be on that, and I'll actually go on board with Justin and watch this one. And he's actually just lost a place as Kurte snuck through there. Joel's just in the background there, so he's lurking there, the Red Bull driver. He's losing one place off the start of the race, but he's going to be back at it anytime soon. Can't deny the pace, and yep, well, there is definitely wet weather on the horizon, but we'll not tell Justin about that one just yet. Keep behind that. Justin actually just making an overtake. As you can see, look how busy it is getting down there in the midfield there. 6, 7, 8 Icewind just hanging in the background. Bit of a gap there back to Jacob. And a little bit of an overtake happening in the back of this race. But at the moment, I think we have to go up to Snelly, because Snelly's like thinking about this again. We saw this before. Lavi's coming him off. Can he do it again? I don't think he can this time around. And that's Snelly back up into a position. He's dropped one from pole position, but currently he's there. Crystals, I think, is dropping a little bit of place there. You can see as everything's got a little bit of pressure, actually, from Mr. Ice Cool, no mistakes, Icewind. And once again, Snelly and Lavi are at it. So they don't even give me a chance to look at which cameras to look at each time. Snelly still resumes that P3 position, but it's getting really spicy at the front there because we go on board with Blindy. And he's currently in P4, but nursing a bit of a penalty next to his name, as well as Mr. Keyboard and Tranquilo. But early days, penalties will come thick and fast around here in Mexico, as you can just see right now. Some of them are starting to come in already. I think it's the second one for this driver, and now he's going to put pressure on the Haas and the AlphaTauri. They know he's got the penalty. I'm not quite sure whether or not Snelly or Lavi's going to put up too much of a fight with those penalties, but there it is. Coming around the final corner right now there. Forget the cone that's there on the side of the road. Sorry about it. Just knock it over. It's just there for show. As they're going to animate straight, DRS will be enabled now. So will that now allow Lavi to try to come back on the McLaren. McLaren's looking at the DRS, but it's going to be a straight drag race down into turn 1. Joel's also thinking about Joel has thought about it. And that's, well, that's a pretty good. Christian Horner will be definitely tapping his foot a little bit more this evening, knowing that his driver is through there, but not quite yet. Actually, Justin's coming back. Don't get too excited yet, Christian Horner. It ain't done. Maybe it is right now. Joel finally gets around, as you can see in the bottom part of the second sector, but it ain't over yet. Mexico short and sweet. Everything can change really quickly in a blink. You blink, and there's an overtake. and go back to Icewind in P9. He's in the back of Curte. And those penalties are definitely coming thick and fast, like I said. And I just got to keep an eye on them. I'm not going to pull them up just yet because they're going to continue to happen. We're on 4 of 36. And basically on the telemetry that I'm seeing, I got warnings, 1s and 2s for almost every driver. So expect to see a lot of them. I'm just really surprised that Blindy Finky is on 6 seconds penalties so early. That's the fastest lap, but 6 seconds penalties at this stage of the race. He's already got on an extra warning on top of that as well too, so he's going to be very careful. Well, perhaps he could be looking for that Rolex time penalty award to take home with him. Nothing wrong with having Rolex. The only problem is you're not going to win a race. As Icewind and Crystals. Well, isn't ice kind of a crystal? Not quite sure. Or is that Curte? Who knows? I need a co-commentator to help me out on that one. But it is what it is. And yep, that weather, I'm telling you, that weather is definitely lurking in the background. Snell Hankey here on Lavi. Now, Snelly's not had the best start. You can see 3 positions that the Alfa Romeo has dropped from pole position. But he's still here. Remember, he's dropping another place right now, but he's still in this race. It's early days. It's going to come down to how good are you on your tires. And representing that right now, he's lost another place there to Justin. And also, Joel, does he have a problem? You could see his car. No. Look at that. 0. No damage on the car whatsoever. But 28% tire wear on the front left. That's why I take a little bit more punishment. Not too bad. So, I just maybe a little bit of a mistake. Maybe he just wants to cool off and let these other guys battle it out for a little bit. Try an alternative strategy. His teammates all the way down in P16 after having a spin. So, we know at the end of the day, Snelly's going to have the choice of pit stop anytime he wants. But he's got pressure. And now from Icewind, it looks like 2. If I'm not mistaken, no Crystals. And dropping places like a Bitcoin market currently at the moment. Not quite sure which Bitcoin you've invested in there, Snelly, but might not be the right one. But you'll have the DRS coming back here. Is he going to be enough? You can see Crystals there in the background. Icewind, Curte, Jacob just a little bit further back there. Well, 5 seconds further back. But this is the DRS train currently behind Mr. Justin, the reserve driver that was chatting to me before that doesn't think it's going to rain the race. But he has no idea it will. As those penalties start to come in again with most of the drivers. Pretty much almost... Oh, there's sometimes you'd be surprised so many drivers actually don't get any penalties at all. And once again, they should. As we're seeing a run currently at the moment there on Crystals and Snelly. And if Snelly doesn't get a move on, he might have a little bit of pressure from the old Icewind. And, yep. And, well, I hope you guys are all safe. Obviously, in North America, experiencing an ice storm. And obviously, stay safe. Drive, keep inside. Drive these cars in a virtual world. Don't go out in the real world and drive a car because it's dangerous, of course, unless you absolutely have to. I would not want to be driving on those roads currently at the moment. Just drive on these roads here in Mexico. And that's for you, Icewind. Trying to keep calm the storm at the moment. More importantly, of course, is we all want to be safe. And, well, Lavi says, I want to be a little bit safer than you, Justin, by getting himself past there up into P3. Currently in the moment for the Haas driver. But, yeah, because they're so bunched up, they're so close, you saw it during the qualifying session, that doesn't mean you've got the job done. Absolutely not, as the Red Bull driver has not got the job done of Camrad, because he's kind of gone around a little bit there, but he's about 31 seconds down the road from the race leaders. Pit stops are going to start coming up soonish. I'll show those tires. 6s on the mediums and softs, that's the strategy. 23 seconds is a pit stop generally around here if your team doesn't get their wheel nut stuck. Something like that. Book the Mercedes. Can get in and out, so but that'll mean the medium runners will run a little bit longer, obviously, no doubt, than the softs. And I think people really in the day would be praying a safety car, but they're not going to get one at this point because 17 drivers, 17 gladiators are still on the track. As Justin says, I want that back, Lavi. I want it back right now. Joel might even have this on Lavi. That DRS is absolutely blistering down that main straight. That's not like 17 kilometers an hour. That's like just get 30 or 40 kilometers an hour. And I do hope that we're not going to see that DRS this year's Formula One with the new cars. They may very well change the DRS. They might get rid of the DRS if they can, some tracks, to not allow that massive advantage. Too much, I don't think, that some of those drivers can do about that situation. Yet, they're also saving up their energy, getting ready. They know it's a long race, 8 of 36. They also know there's penalties slapped next to their names. It can be the key to how you win a race, how you lose a race. And there's Icewind and Snelly. They're at it again. 2 for now. And Snelly, well, Icewind needs to wear a helmet. We've told the driver before, safety first. Doesn't listen. I just sit back and pray that the Aston Martin driver does not get a crash. I mean, you know, James Bond, I mean, he's a very dangerous man, but really driving without a helmet, that's just, mate, that's suicidal. The virtual world, anyway, of course. He would never do that in a real world, and crystals will overtake him and say, well, there you go. That's how you do it here in Mexico. The Alpine driver currently up in P5. So are we starting to see, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, gladiators, are we starting to see tires go off for the mediums? There are, sorry, the softs. As Lavi's dropping a position right now, like once again, like the Bitcoin market, there it is. There's the telemetry. I'd have to say they're getting close to the 50s. And you're getting close to the 50s in Mexico is getting close to the, oops, I spin and hit my car into the fence territory, and that's not where you want to be. It's a long race, and it's good to see. Well, Tranquillo has retired. I think Tranquillo retired in the pits and didn't see anything on track, so unfortunate Ferrari driver. So at least 16 drivers are out here on the track. And now you're getting very, very close to the pit stop territory. So what is our race leader of the Williams going to do? Stay out. What's the race leader's tires for the Williams? 53% front left. Danger territory. The mediums are starting to come and play, and there it is. That's exactly what's going to happen. And I'm sure with that strategy, they're probably going to expect that down there in the Williams team to say, okay, you know, you'll lose a couple of places, of course, because the medium runs will be a bit quick, but consistently do a few more laps so that you can go perhaps onto the... There's a safety car, because I don't have a co-commentator and anybody to let me know that Mr. Keyboard, unfortunately, has binned it somewhere on the track, and that might very well be to the pit lane entrance. Something, but there is a McLaren going into the pits right now. That's Dog of War, Ocean Chief. Everybody else, well, there's a Red Bull. That's so that Kamad, Kamad's gonna box. It's gonna be a free pit stop for everybody here at this point. Now, do you pit if you are on the mediums, guys? Would you? You kind of have to. It's a free pit stop. We'll see. And those guys have a Dog of War, Kamad, and Futuristic. That's a lucky break for them, because they've got a chance to go into the pits early when the safety car was called. Now you can see them on the track map. They can scoot on down the road and try to catch the pack, and the packs are all going to be coming in generally to the pit lane right now. Where's that safety car? You can see that yellow dot. So it's hovering around there, where you'll see the red dot from the Red Bull of Joel. Actually, no, that's not Joel. That's actually Kamad, who's come out of the pit lane after changing his pit. And then here it is. It's busy down the pit lane, as to be expected. And the medium runner's got it done. So that's interesting to see who's going on to what tire compound from here, because it's probably switched around that strategy a little bit. Now, soft runners may want to do a couple more laps before they switched over. The medium runners probably wanted to do a few more than that before they switched over. But because it's a safety car, it's a cheap pit stop, they've all elected to just get rid of all fresh boots. And you can see that on the grid. 0 tire wear for every single driver. So everybody's got fresh boots on there. Pirelli is banking it right now in tires. They're like cha-ching, cha-ching, 15 times, 15 sales, 15 by 4, of course, because there's 4 tires in the car. That's good money. They're making it. They're banking it. But what's interesting is the strategy, because some of those drivers elected to go back onto the softs. Some of those drivers elected to go onto those mediums. Some drivers go on the hards. Nobody, unfortunately, has taken my advice and gone on to the inters, because the rain's coming. But they'll find out soon enough. They will find out. I'm really trying. Unfortunately, there is no rain on the horizon yet, but don't tell the drivers. Don't tell them. I want my points. Just definitely do not tell Justin, that racer. Whatever you do, don't tell him that it's not going to rain. Penalties? There are a lot. And I guess it's time to show them. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, but pretty much there is a lot of them out there. But the biggest thing that's going to hurt, of course, is Ocean Chief of the drive-through, as well as Kamad. That's going to hurt. I mean, we do like Jeffrey, of course, but I don't know if Jeffrey really wants to see you like a couple of times in the pit lane within a few laps. They'll have to serve him. Now, would you say you'd have to serve them under the safety car, wouldn't you? Because you're just going to lose too much time if you don't. You can hear the steam? Justin, yeah, mate, you better be fit. Have you got your umbrella? Might need it. As it's Mexico. And if I have to throw my drink out the window just to get some rain on the track, I will. Under the safety car conditions at the moment. But Ocean Chief didn't serve his drive-through. Now they did the Red Bull driver. Well, the Red Bull driver is coming around the final corner right now, so he might have the opportunity to do it. I have to say, you do it now. If I get the right car. Because you can't afford to wait more laps. You're just going to lose time. Once the safety car comes in, you don't serve it, you're going to drop a lot. If you serve it and come back out, and you catch the safety car, and you're back probably pretty much where you are. Ocean Chief's 12. Kamad is 14. So, you know, you're going to lose a couple of places. Not the end of the world. Futuristic is just hanging back there in P15. And Futuristic hasn't had the best race, but he's still in it. That's what I love to see, that dedication. He started in P3. Fantastic qualifying performance from both of those drivers. His teammate currently of Snelly is in P8. Snelly started in P1. Sorry, pole position. And are now electing to go onto the hard tires, if I'm not mistaken. Throwing that one up there. Yeah, alternate strategy. But anything can happen in Formula 1. Anything does happen. Justin's upside down at the moment. Why is that, Justin? Because you need an umbrella? You currently are in P2. You really think you're going to make those mediums go to the end? We're on 12 of 36. Safety cars in this lap. So yeah, there it is. So you guys didn't want to serve that drive-through penalty. It's too late. Short track, remember. Second shortest on the Formula 1 calendar. It's 2.8 in miles. And if you want to know a real metric measuring system, it's 4.5 kilometers. That's right, kilometers. Get with the program. And Agfar's off with the program down the road as we're on board with Mr. Justin, the racer. Doesn't think it's going to rain. He'll find out a little bit. Who can find out? Crystals knows when it rains. Crystal knows if he's going to rain past Joel. Difference in tire strategies as well, too. Joel's going to be a sitting target because he's got those hard tires. We all know how difficult they are. Drivers, as I said, some of them refuse. They'll flat out say no. They'll never take a hard tire ever if you give it to them. And Joel's going to feel the pressure because he's going to be able to pressure there from Blindy and Icewind. And then Joel's gone all the way around, all the way back. And Joel's been absolutely punished for those hard tires at the moment. Has that been a wrong decision? I don't know. Joel's going to find out. Ocean Chief is now serving his penalty. So maybe a little bit too late. Oh, that's right. My apologies. I forgot. You can't serve it on the safety car. I saw that now, Justin. My bad. Hey, that's why I don't have my co-commentators here with actual F1 knowledge to help me out. I'm just a commentator. But thank you for that. I was just wondering why they couldn't do it. Ocean Chief's probably saying, Pickles, how many times have you been doing this? You should know that by now. Anyway, Futuristic is trying to get something into the future, and basically it's Kamad, I think. Overtakes are going to be coming left, right, and center. Unfortunately, I have one camera, but I'll be on board right now with Futuristic. You can see Dog of War and Kamad battling it out through the grandstand section as I listen to those 30 or 40,000 Mexicanos go absolutely ballistic through there. But even over the engines, you can hear them. That's absolutely amazing. Well, if you're Mexican, certainly hear that 10 times more than anybody else. Can the Haas driver hear this 10 times more than Mr. Vito as they're traveling 48 down there? And you can also see a little bit up ahead there is Snelly Hankey, the man that started on pole position currently at the moment. He's got a little bit of pressure because he's on those hard tires. We know what happened before with the drivers on hard tire. Very, very difficult. Joel dropped a lot of positions. It looks like Snelly Hankey might be dropping a couple of places, but Snelly Hankey can come back a little bit later, of course, because the hard tires could come back into play. These other drivers may very well have to box again. So Snelly's just going to have to try to park that Ascar Alfa Romeo wherever he possibly can. He's doing a very good job defensively. And the LP driver just says, Vito, like, just let me pass, man. I'm on the best tires that there are, okay? And eventually he can drive around the outside, of course. Not just because of the pure driver talent, but tires make a difference in this game. And he's got to get up the road, but that's not a fight that Snelly Henke wants to get just yet. He knows, well, pit stop around here, obviously, it's 23 seconds. So when Snelly doesn't have to box, 23 seconds is what Vito's going to have to get up the road to cover off that pit stop. But covering off anything at the moment is this massive battle with the DRS activated between the top 4 drivers. 5, actually. Icewind's also in this DRS train. And that's what, you know, Mexico has the Mexican wave, and it also has the Mexican train. Comes to DRS, as you can see, 4 cars there, 2 abreast each, going into turn 1 and turn 2. Action all over the place here in the Americas. As we're on lap 15 of 36, so we're not even a halfway point currently at this race, and my voice somehow still managing to hang in there. Well, if I can do it, the gladiators out there on the track can do it, because they're actually sweating their butts out trying to turn these cars around this track ultimately over and over and over again. And, well, you can't pause. Safety car, of course, you can pause, but not when you're racing like this. So you can't blink, you can't scratch. You got a little scratch, you got a little itch right now on the top of your head. Nope, can't take your hand off the steering wheel to do that. Maybe on the main straight. And that's about it. If you have a cramp, that's it. Sorry, you have to deal with it. We had some drivers before I was speaking to the other day that had cramps in their foot, their toes, their necks. It's punishing. It is only a virtual game, but still, even real Formula 1 drivers have actually said it's difficult. It takes a lot of level of concentration. It is physically a little bit demanding on you, very mentally demanding on you. As Crystals is getting very, very close to back from Justin the racer, doesn't believe it's going to rain. Oh, very close there. The wind's been forced outside there from the Haas. And that's Kurte, Jacob, and his teammate of Lavi's up the road. But that's the really battle there, because Snelly Henke's in this mix. But Snelly Henke, remember, on the hard tires, was a bit of a sitting target. But now Jacob, you got to think about that. Jacob and Futuristic, the only 2 drivers apart from Ocean Chief that have no penalties next to their name yet. So absolutely outstanding. And if they can keep that up and a late safety car, bang, you're P1. Practically, that's how it will roll. And they know that. They've probably done that before. Fastest man on the track now is Blinky Vinky. He's going to pull that little bit of a gap. I can't call him Blinky Vinky. Ah, these names. I love it. Well, if you have me as a commentator, you know I'm the destroyer of names. And there is Aggie going not where he wants to be for the Williams driver. Agfa dropping a couple of places. 2 Crystals, 2 Justin, down to P4 currently in the moment. The medium tires might be under a bit of pressure there from Ocean Wind. Ocean, yes. The Ocean might be blowing his way up into P3. Currently not yet. You can see I'm going to stay on board there because Crystals and Justin are going to go side by side into turn 1 down the massive DRS straight. Who's going to get the spot? Who's going to hold it? It's going to be side by side. There's a little bit of pops of their wheel grading contact. And there's also medium runners and soft runners. So that's going to be very interesting. You can see in the background there, there's Jacob and Kurte battling it out. But for now, I'm going to keep an eye on this one at the front here between these top, well, these 3 drivers from 3 all the way down to Ice when you're currently on board with the Alfa Romeo in P5. And then you got a little bit of a gap to Vito. It's interesting too about those tires. I mean, we do know that the soft tires will go a lot deeper than what they did at the start of the race because the fuel is burned off a little bit more. Plus, remember, they had a couple of laps under the safety car. So realistically, they've only done about 3 laps on these tires. And have really have an idea of what the tires are like on the mediums. There they are currently for the telemetry provided. It's 18%. Plenty in the bag. You could drive all the way down to Panama on those tires without a problem whatsoever. I have no idea I could do that. I need a co-commentator to help me out with all that juicy information. I need drivers in here. I'm not a driver. I'm just a crofty. I'm just a small Aussie from a small family, from a small country, sparing my life for this world's atrocity. Icewind. He's still there, as you can see. We are on board with the Aston Martin driver. Great. I like to do this. So I do like to change the camera angles around, guys, but unfortunately, as you know, Cody's don't always give us the best angles, but we'll see at the moment there as Agfa tries to make his round around Justin to turns all the way down somewhere in the middle sector. Sorry, I don't have turn numbers here in Mexico, or even the names. But he still hasn't got the job done. And they're the mediums, and they're still about, what, 1.4 seconds down the road. Now, the soft runners are definitely quicker. To give you an idea, the front two. Oh, we've lost our race leader completely, and has he binned it somewhere on the track? I can't see. There he is! He's hit the wall! Oh, the wall. Sorry, the wall's hit him. That's going to be a safety car. Maybe. Are we getting a full yellow? No, it's only a local yellow. So that's an interesting place. Now, they had a bit of a gap between them, so I'm not quite sure. That must very well be a driver. I was just about to go over to him and say they were lapping in the 117s, and these guys behind in the mediums were lapping in the 119s. So that's interesting. Do you know what happened out there, Dragon? Do you need any information down there in the pit lane? Because I didn't catch it because they weren't battling close enough, really, for me to switch the cameras over. So maybe that was just a tank slapper against the wall, or as I said, the wall came out and hit him. You might have to put the wall on report, the FIA. Those naughty barriers keep doing that to our drivers. 19 to 36. Remember, it goes quick because obviously it is the second shortest track in the Formula 1 calendar. You think he just binned it? I think you're right as well. He risked it for the biscuit or the tacos here in Mexico, and fortunately that might not work. But he had fresh boots too. I'm really surprised. What probably would have happened? Fresh softs with, you know, straight out of the blankets, only a few laps on them. So the tire wear and obviously pressure. All the drivers have pressure, but not wheel to wheel that I'm aware of. That he had. Crystal's now leading the race, and Crystal was in that position. Crystal's unfortunately is looking closer to that FedEx time penalty award as well, as I'll slap those penalties up. It's starting to get a little into the situation where drivers had to start thinking about those penalties in the back of their head. Because a lot of drivers currently at the moment are on 6s and 9s. That's not a place you want to be. That's a lot of places you can drop. The Jacob looking good. There were none. Ocean Chief, I don't think that man's ever got a penalty before in his life, so I don't expect him to get one. He can just mop up all the points he possibly can because of the other drivers just being slapped with more and more penalties. Currently, there it is. So Crystal's done a fantastic job. Jacob, Icewin, and Vito. So the top 4 drivers have gained a ton of positions, as we're seeing an overtake there, but I think between Joel. Joel is off into the grass on those hard tires. Joel, come on, lay off the grass, all right? No. Oh, I could just pick on drivers all day long. But I can't. I have to also be friendly to them. They pay my salary in love. I spin. And, oh, Crystals is boxing. Interesting. Early pit stop there. 9 laps on those tires. What were they? 36%. Not too bad. Switching onto another set of softs to go to the end. I shouldn't really, I'd imagine, be that much of a problem if you could take care of them. If you can nurse them, obviously a virtual safety car and things like that will definitely help you. At the lead of the race at the moment, they're Icewind and Justin. Now, they're the medium tires. Give you an idea of the tires currently at the moment too. There for the mediums is, there you go, about 28%. We'll say that Justin's on. But Justin doesn't know he's going to switch on to the inters later because it's going to rain. But for now, we'll just keep that quiet for the McLaren driver. Got a bit of pressure too there from Vito, which I'll go on board with and capture that ang from on board the Alpine driver. As you can see, the 2 gladiators at the front of the race there. And Vito's got the better tyre. I'm actually curious to see what Vito's tyre would be on the softs. 42%. It is definitely punishing around here on those tyres. 9 laps. Remember, really 7 laps because of the 2 or so under the safety car. So we probably think he could probably push it to about 60s before he's going to have to box. So he can't go to the end of the race. Or if he does go to the end of the race, Pirelli's going to be, thank you for testing our tyres. I'm not quite sure if Vito wants to test his life to keep it out of the fence if those tyres start exploding on him. But that is what it is. 22 of 36 in this race and alternative strategies all around. Not a very good day for the Red Bull drivers of Joel and Kamad there in 12th and 14th, but still a race to go, of course. Plenty of time. And a late safety car can certainly do something about that, as we're seeing a overtake just in the background there. I think they're of Crystals and Curte. Futuristic is a little bit further down. Jacob's now boxing. Dog of War's now boxing. They've done those laps. I think they wanted to get rid of those tires. Maybe try a little bit of an undercut, see how it pays off for them. Get some quick laps in there. Whilst this entertainment is occurring on track at the moment there between Snelly and Crystals and Curte. Oh, just never get away my tongue around that. G'day, Motorsport. Hello and welcome to Mexico. Hope you enjoyed your flight. Hope the hotel and accommodation is suitable there. Also trackside. The paddock pass ticket that we got for you. Hopefully you picked that one up at the gate. And, well, you're on board right now with a Haas. As you can see, Snell Hankey there harvesting a little bit of energy, trying to see what he can do to defend against the flying Haas man. He's on a little bit more grippier tyre per se, obviously, on those mediums. But can he go the distance to the end of the mediums is also an interesting one. Pull up that tyres and see that Snell actually picks up a little bit of a penalty on that one. So, yeah, well, that's 34% on those mediums, guys out there. What do you think? Do you think they take those mediums to the end? Well, ask this man. As he's about to get past Snelly, make his way up into P7. Crystals came back out ahead of this battle on the fresh boots. And keep an eye out for that Williams driver, because he currently at the moment, just to give you an indication of how easy things are panning out in this race, there's your gap to leader. So Crystals is 16. Pit stop's 23 seconds. So Crystals will take the lead of this race if everybody above him boxes. But if they don't, he's going to have to work for it. But he's definitely going to be working for it, because I'm no doubt the Alpine driver will be the quickest on track for sure. As we're on board with him right now. Look, he's just absolutely flying as he's come out of the pit lane with those fresh boots on. G'day, Natalie. Hello, hello. Hope your tickets are great here to Mexico. Hope your flight was good and the entertainment, the catering services and everything like that are good. Vito's boxing. So this is now coming in a situation. I do think that these medium tires will also have to box. It's going to be really pushing it. You're looking at 12 laps. That's a stretch. But has Crystals come in a little bit too early? Now the teams, obviously the teams felt it probably has, because Vito's come back out. He is also in the Alpine. He's going to drop out just behind Snelly Hankey there, ahead of Futuristic. I'm showing the gaps to leaders at the moment. I'll pull it back over to the interval gaps. As we can see, Curte battling it out with Snell Hankey and Vito. Now, Vito's got the fresh boots. This will be very, very interesting to see how quickly Vito can dispose of the drivers with the older tires. And yes, he can. And because, in Mexico, it's also one of those tracks that those tires make a massive difference. As you can see, it's like taking candy from a baby. But remember, these drivers, as we saw during qualifying, they're separated by a second for the top 13 drivers. So they're so ridiculously close in pace. It's not that easy just to overtake somebody. It's all going to come down to the tire. As you can just see, he's already built up pretty much a 1 second gap. But this is going to be interesting here between the hard and mediums of both these drivers, because those tires are going to start getting very, very similar. The mediums are going to start falling off the cliff and the hards are going to start working a little bit. But can Snell Hankey take those hard tires to the end? I think he can. But will he have the pace? Because currently at the moment he's 22 seconds down the road from our race leader, Justin, that racer. And that is right on the absolute bubble of a pit stop. And Curte disposes of Snelly. Snelly started on provisional pole, well, on pole. My apologies. Fastest third sector also goes to Vito up the road, so he's really taken advantage of those soft tires. And to give you an idea of the time in the soft tires from both Crystals and himself, so the Alpine drivers making that earlier pit stop, that alternative strategy, they're lapping 16s and 17s. Everybody else on the track right now are lapping in 18s and 19s. So they're maximizing that. They're chewing through those tires. They're trying to gain as much time as they can. But they've also got to remember, they're going to make those tires go to the end. And that's what Vito has just got a time penalty for pushing those tires to the limit. We all know those penalties are definitely going to come into play a little bit later on as well, because they're all racking them up left, right, and center. Like, you get a penalty, you get a penalty. It's like an Oprah Winfrey show. Everybody gets a penalty. Hopefully not. The only person not getting a penalty, of course, is Ocean Chief, because, as I said, that man doesn't get a penalty. In fact, I'm not even going to curse it. I'm not even going to talk about it, Ocean Chief. I'm going to do you a favor. Larvy's going to come in the pits. He's getting rid of 15 lap tires. That's going to be expecting that. So really, at the moment, you have to be looking at Crystals leading this race from Vito. Because I doubt that these other Top Gun Gladiators can make those tires go to the end. And could this be the call? Do you come in a little bit earlier and try? He's got this. I think this has worked out brilliantly for Larvy because he's going to come out in clean air. You can see on the track map, nobody around him. He can just get on with it, not have to worry about anybody around there battling with anybody, dirty air. Put some banker laps in and cover off perhaps what's going to happen a little bit further up the road. That will be the key. A strategy always comes into play in the Formula 1 game when you're racing a 50% league race, especially with the top guns here at 2S. These guys aren't slouch. If you looked up half these names right now, you'll find at least half of them in the top 20, 30, 40 quickest drivers time trials on the planet. So there is an indication of how quick they are. There's Comad's boxing from P14. It's got nothing to lose back there. The Red Bull driver starting at P10. Still in the race, which is what we like to see as those penalties are starting to come in. There it is. So there's Justin and Agfa both boxing at the same time, which means it just leaves Icewind out there, and that's Snelly and Kurte electing obviously to stay. I think Snelly could go to the end, but the other medium drivers can't. And where are they going to come back out now? Has Futuristic covered them off? Where is Futuristic coming around the stadium section right now? I think the other drivers are exiting pits. And that's Kurte exiting the pit lane now. They'll be ahead by far, actually, so they'll stay at those positions where they are currently at the moment. That just leaves Icewind in a little bit of trouble. As you can see, 12-second gap to Crystals, and the pit stops are being generally on average from the teams 22 to 23 seconds. So that will drop Icewind down, crucially, about just behind Justin. Justin's currently in P4, battling it out with the old Agfa. Actually, we're showing a drop in position, but he's kind of lonely out there on the track. As this is getting to that little business end of the racing currently at the moment, where you can see the gaps forming between drivers, so they weren't as close as what they were for majority of the race, actually, when most of the drivers were in DRS battling it out. This is now going to be your tire management situation. How many pumping fast laps you can put in there, build the gap, and then right down to the tooth and nail with the last handful of laps to go. You've got to basically start breaking that DRS by lap 30. And the situation will be Vito has to break the DRS to Crystals by lap 30. Futuristic has to break it to his teammate, whether there's going to be team orders at play. Kurte doesn't even need to worry about that because it looks like he's going to get Ocean Chief anytime soon. Ocean Chief electing to use those 16 lap tires. Ocean Chief's done 10 on the softs, 16 on the mediums. And I don't know if Ocean Chief's going to take them and go to the end or not, but who knows? There's certainly going to be a bit of trouble because the Haas driver could be easily driving around. And the Haas driver should be able to just hit the brake pedal and that car should stop. Should, theoretically, with the better tire. And it does. Crystal's picking up a penalty as well too. They're all going to come back into play. Icewind, when is he going to box? Or if he's going to box is also the question, because he doesn't have to. He's made his pit stop already. Actually, my apologies, he does, because the Aston Martin driver has boxed already, but he's done mediums. So he's done 11 on mediums laps and then 17 on his current tires. So if you are not need, or if you need a Formula 1, you have to change your tire compound. You can't use the same one unless it's raining, of course, which it will be if you tell Justin. And I think Vito and Crystals have just allowed each other to have a bit of a pass there, as Dog of War is now getting lapped. 13 he is by the race leader, so that'll actually help Icewind with a little DRS. But look at Icewind's tires currently at the moment, 54% front left. Got to be very, very careful. We did see the likes of Lindy Binkel bin it somewhere on track that we assume he was on fresher tires, so it's going to get tricky to get that traction down. Plant that loud pedal and all of a sudden the car goes no, bang, you're on the fence. Ocean Chief finally coming into the pit lane now. He's like, nah, because I just can't do it. I can't push these tires to the end on what they are. So, but he has, if you keep an eye out, 23 seconds of Dog of War, should be able to come back out, fresh boots. going to be looking good for some pace. Perhaps get some points. You can make them work, but now it's the business end. Once again, as I said, by lap 30, which we were on, these drivers had to be pushing it to get inside that DRS so you can start making your magic work for overtakes. Otherwise, it's going to come down to penalties. That's where Ocean Chief actually eventually got his first penalty for the day. Does happen, I guess. He is still human. But he's going to have a lot of penalties. Less penalties than anybody else. And there is your penalty situation as well. So, look at the threes. Lavi, Futuristic, and Ocean Chief. They're the threes. But everybody else, you look at 6s, 9s, 13s, 12s, 14s. I mean, that's a lot of time. And if you actually look at the gaps between them, that's really going to switch things over. Who can win the race currently at the moment? Iceman, for sure. Joel gets a penalty. Joel's dropped. Joel's out. Will that be a late safety car out? That's going to be very, very interesting. Where is Joel's car parked? It's in the pit lane entrance area. We might be able to see it as we're on board with Ocean Chief currently at the moment. As it got around to the Stadium Century section. But no, the car's being pushed back into the pit lane. So that's Red Bull's not having a very good day. That's Joel out. And his other Red Bull drivers down to P14. Just a local yellow, I think. Can have a safety car still late into this race. But I think, yeah. Oh, there's his car, actually. Right there. Oh, that's the AI driving it. Oh, that's Ocean Chief just ghosting through somebody at the moment. Scaring me. Crystal's putting a little bit of pressure on Justin the Racer. 12-second penalties between those drivers too. Ooh, is that the Red Bull of Kamad that they've had to take avoiding to go around, but then Kamad would have been ghosted. So that's very, very interesting as to why they had to take avoiding action. Maybe just because they just got a little bit of visual distraction, of course. And Futuristic diving into the pit lane. If I'm not mistaken, it is for the Alfa Romeo driver. No, that was just a little bit of the trickiness that is occurring with the telemetry, trying to trick me. And those penalties are starting to come in thick and fast, but this is pretty close actually between this driver, unless I'm just being somehow kicked out of the session or whatever, because I'm seeing Futuristic as actually being ghosted. Might not even be in control of the car. So's Ocean Chief, so that's quite surprising to see a few of these drivers already ghosting. Or maybe anybody out there can confirm that down into the YouTube chat world. As Futuristic picking up a time penalty. That's got to be something that doesn't look like a driver would be picking. I mean, the AI doesn't pick up 3-second penalties. I think Futuristic's in this. It's just probably what I'm seeing as a spectator mode. It certainly looks like that man is battling the Alfa Romeo of his teammate. That started in P1 up in P7 currently in the moment. Probably not the best results they want to have today, but look at that. Icewind, 15 positions and 13 positions gained. Oh, they're getting lapped. Wow, already. That's right. I forgot it is a short track. And Icewind's going to somehow take these tires to the end of the race, as we're seeing this battle obviously between Ocean Chief and Futuristic. I think Icewind has to take this to the end, as Vito's battling out currently right now with Justin, the reserve racer, this evening. Vito gets slapped with another penalty that puts him back up now to 12. So he's actually tied with the penalties with Justin that's just ahead of him. And Icewind has to just bring that car home. It's too late to box now. His gap, if he does box, he's going to come out P6, probably just ahead of Lavi. So that's a race win gone. As, yeah, more and more and more of those penalties are coming in. Fastest person on the track right now is Futuristic after he puts some fresh boots on. I expect to get him to get that fastest lap coming up soon, but I'm going to keep an eye on this battle that's occurring. I'm also going to switch over to our race leader in a minute just to kind of get an idea of what his tyres are, because they were absolutely baked. And I'm going to do that right now because I'm just curious to see how much is he in puncture territory. It's not 70%. It's not too bad. It is a guesstimate. So it's going to be give or take a few percentages around that, but it's going to be close. He's got lap traffic up ahead to deal with as Vito and Crystals have exchanged positions. Go back to them. I just wanted to keep an eye on the race leader's tyres as he's going to have to nurse them out for a couple more laps. Should be okay, but there's a tap between teammates, if I'm not mistaken, or was that the Williams of Crystals? No, it was teammates. Hard to see the difference in those colours, but Vito and Crystals hitting each other. Now that is not something you want to see as a team boss. And well, welcome along to your math session today. Crunch up those numbers and just go through those penalties, because Rolex is, I don't think Rolex has enough watches to try to compute time that they need to calculate that one. As we're on the second last lap of the race there, Icewind leading this one from Justin and should definitely be able to take this one home, no problems, because of those penalty situations. Lavi is going to get a ton of time. In fact, Lavi, currently at the moment, to me, is looking like a P2. Believe it or not. On the penultimate lap of the race, when you're running in P6, you probably wouldn't think you'd be getting on the podium, but because of those penalties, I think Lavi might. I mean, you got to kind of crunch those numbers to work it out, but it's pretty close. Ocean Chief's going to be right up there as well, getting a few points. So they're pretty much spread out at the moment, and that might very well be the situation. So I think Icewind has pulled off the... No, Icewind's in trouble. I forgot. He has not made a pit stop. He's started on the medium tires. He's on the medium tires for his second stint. He needs to change his compound, otherwise he will be disqualified. He'll have to box now. And if he boxes now, he is going to drop a lot of places. I mean, it's 20... Well, show the gap. It's 22 seconds for a pit stop, 23, so he's going to drop... Ooh, maybe just ahead of Lavi. That's going to be super close. And if he does it on the last lap, he's going to be penalized even more in that time. So I'm just going to be curious to see what he's going to do here. Does he know? Has Jeff told him? Man started in P14, currently at the moment running in P1, but has not changed his tires. There it is. He's boxing now. He has to. Now he's going to come back out. He's retired from the session. Wow. He had at least a P4, P3, maybe less because of the penalties. That's interesting. If the drivers just got upset at Jeffrey or something like that because of that situation. But that's it. So at the moment, it's going to go then to this man, the reserve driver, the man that said it wasn't going to rain, but it has. It's rained orange. It's rained papaya orange. Because it looks like Justin is going to be able to take this one away now. I'm quite surprised why Icewind has just retired from the session as well too, because he was still going to get some good points here. Perhaps even a podium. Who knows? Those penalties were thick and fast for a lot of those drivers. I think at the moment too, Lavi's definitely got a podium. And the McLaren driver now Justin just has to bring this one home. Started in P8 and looking pretty good there for a P1. Just behind Crystal, started in P13. Up into 17th, but barring they're going to lose some of those positions because of penalties, Lavi will get that P2, so they'll get that, probably Crystals will get that third step on the podium. But for now, it's going to be Justin's day. Justin, that race's day, as the McLaren driver has proved the Biggles wrong. There is no rain in Mexico. There is only Justin the racer as he crosses the line to win the race, in style of course, crashing it. Crystals will cross the line there, but we still don't know the situation with the penalties. Will Lavi take all this one away? And Crystal's made a mistake coming out of the corner as he let his teammate through. He's parked the car. He's not even going to cross the line. Vito will go into that P2 position, Crystals, but what will Lavi? That'll be the interesting thing of the penalties. Lavi crossing line now, goes to the P2. He does get it. We always say the penalties are the ones that really do make the difference, and certainly have today from Lavi. And Vito will get the third place and the fastest lap. So that driver's done probably will be showing up on your screen anytime soon, saying he's the driver of the day because he did from 17th place up into P3. Justin got it, and I'm really, really surprised about why Icerin didn't finish that race because I'm pretty sure he was very, very close to getting a podium. Probably just mad at the team for not putting the right tire compound on. Had to change it. Ocean Chief, I want to see where well, obviously the Chief can gain a few more positions. He might be a little bit too far down the road. We'll see, but I mean, he's only got the 3-second penalties, and he certainly himself there and Lavi have done a fantastic job only to get 3-second penalties when everybody else has just so many penalties that Rolex can't afford it. And Ocean Chief will get that P9 position, but there it is. Justin's car parked, smashed on the road there, but he's already out of the car, already celebrating with his team because he's won this race as a reserve driver on top of it. So good on you, McLaren, and that means you're going to be drinking from the shoe. There's your selfie. And where's the shoey? Where's the shoey? Sorry, no trophy. No shoe, no trophy. It's the Frenchman. As a reserve driver steps in there and gets that lucky win, I'd have to say, because of the other driver that had made a little bit of a crucial error in the pit stop strategy. But hey, you got to be in it to win it, and you certainly were in it to win it. And there's your results. Justin, the racer, will race his way into the victory of this one from Lavi with the limited penalties that gets himself up into that P2 position there from Vito. 17th driver of the day, of course, with the fastest lap. Great drive too for the Alpine. Agfa for the Williams there. Snelly Hankey from P1 dropping down to P4. Probably not the 5. He's the best driver. He wants the Williams driver there. P6 there. Clete, futuristic Ocean Chief getting it because of the penalties as well, showing the young guns how to do it. Crystals finally wraps out that P10 position there. Icewind and the other gladiators, Joel. Just scroll down a little bit. That one on time. But I am only one person. Let's see if we get these gladiators in for a quick chat in a second. So I can stop talking. I can save my voice, perhaps. Future. Get some interviews coming up in a second. There's your results. So don't go anywhere. Grab the gladiators. Back in just a minute.
Wait, they ran P1 wing and were 4k pitch slower than us on the straight.
Hello, Biggles.
Goodies.
Hello.
Biggles?
Yeah. Does anybody want to do any interviews or not?
I could do one.
Alright. Yep, okay, cool. So, you guys can chat if you want, but I'll cut over it because my voice is about to die. Alright, so in...
We will watch.
Oh, I'm already live to everybody. You can hear me, so don't worry about it. I didn't even mute. So there it is. Rookie mistake. It's okay. Well, we just heard anyway that was Vito actually said he would do an interview. Vito, congratulations, that P3 driver of the day, 17th up into that third place position and the fastest lap. How was the race?
I'd say the race was interesting. Had a go to the start. Absolutely clear of like 5 people on the start. Then there was I don't know, I think I tagged the Mercedes on his front wing with my diffuser, and I spun around. Managed to recover to, because of the safety car, managed to go on the soft, recovered to P3. Decided to go for undercut. Didn't really work out in the end, as Justin caught me up very well. And also had a very embarrassing spin into the pit lane, which reset me back to track. I don't even know how I spun. I was in 5th gear and the car just went. I guess tire wear. But yeah, in general, not too shabby for no practice starting from the back race. So enjoyed it, had fun, decent result.
Yeah, well, exactly. And well, the penalties, you had 17 seconds, so you're kind of looking for that Rolex time penalty award. I'm not quite sure who got it. Actually, it was the driver behind you. So Agfa gets the Rolex time penalty award, I believe, with 18 seconds. So that will definitely come. Actually, it might have shared that one currently in the moment with Clete as well. So maybe Rolex has to give them 2 watches to remind them they need to be on time all the time, because they're cutting those corners a little bit too much around here, like a lot of people did.
Yeah, I actually only got 12 seconds of cutting, and I sped in the pit lane. I went 81 kilometers an hour instead of 80.
Well, it's still speeding, mate. That's what. Yeah, you can argue with police officer all day long. They're still going to give you a ticket.
True. Speeding is speeding, but unfortunate. We'll get it next time.
Yeah.
Hopefully next week. I think it's Brazil. I think it's Brazil.
Yeah, well, actually, no. There's a surprise. You're actually going to Panama. It's a new track.
I'm going to Panama. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's between Brazil and Mexico. It's right in the middle between North and South America. So, yep, welcome to the track. You don't know anything about it. Should be finished with it today. So, yeah, you'll have absolutely no practice. I'll throw you straight on the track. Everybody will be even Stevens. That'll be actually a really fun event. No, it probably would be Brazil, of course, because we're going to go from Mexico down into the South Americas. It's like the real F1, because, of course, logistically, you want to make sure that the teams don't have to spend that much money to travel all the way across the world. Anyway, thank you very much, Vito. So, once again, it was a very good drive. Check the championships actually at the standings at the moment there. And you, my friend, I can't even read it. It's so small.
Reserve.
Are a reserve, another reserve as well, too, because the man that won the race was a reserve.
Well, I can explain that. We unfortunately had to terminate Tier 1. So, we're not quite sure yet how we're going to do it with the points.
Okay.
But I think we're just going to continue with this championship, seen as that would be the most fair, but I'm pretty sure Justin might get a full-time seat and I might take one myself. So we'll see how that pans out with the points.
Yeah, but, fantastic. That would be good, of course.
Justin will have 25 points and I will have 15.
I'm sure that the powers that be at 2S will definitely sort that one out, of course, because, we want to have a nice full grid. We did today almost, like 17 or 18 drivers, which is good these days in the F1, of course, as some of the seasons have wrapped up and we're still getting through the rest of the season here at 2S. Obviously, SLR are also going through their season, and they've also had to do similar things as well too. Leagues are starting to merge together to spice it up a little bit, so they'll have to crunch some numbers. We had to crunch numbers today for the penalties. So that would be it. Any of the other gladiators that are in here currently in the moment? I just raided their room, by the way. Not even in the interview room. I just jumped into them.
Maybe in room 3, there could be people. Oh, they just joined room 4.
They left. It's fine. My voice is about cooked anyway, so I probably should end the stream.
Hello.
Hello. Justin, the racer, you the one that did win the race as a reserve driver, but obviously we were just chatting about that before. Probably you're going to be a full-time driver and stuff. Why not? You're winning a race. You should be. How was that race for you?
Well, I mean, I just raced today because Tier 1 got canceled and I kind of wanted to race in Mexico, so I joined. I didn't think I was going to win, but yeah, I just raced for fun, and then in the end I ended up P1.
Well, you did. you did race for fun and you won, and that's from P8 on the grid. So your qualifying performance wasn't quite there. Penalties, you had a few, but then again, everybody else did. Were you aware that Icewind had to box again because he was on mediums?
Nope.
Oh.
No, nope.
So that must have been a nice surprise for you to see that he had went in there and he's like, oh, wait, hang on. This is a race win here.
'cause I saw an Aston Margot in the pits, and I didn't think it was him. But then after I saw he went in the pits and then retired, I was like, oh, okay, well, guess I'll just win now, I guess.
Yeah, the flying fin, I was actually really surprised why he actually did he did retire, because he probably could have still come out there and got at least P4, P5. But yeah, you've gone to like practically all the laps. It just seems to me like, don't throw it away right towards the end. Even if you're not going to win the race, it's still there. You still want to cross the line. You're not going to get paid, by the way, as a driver. So the team are just going to just cut his salary for that race and get nothing. Justin, so you owe me some points because I was correct. There was rain in the race. Did you see it there on lap 3?
Unironically, when I came out on my medium tires in qualifying, I did see a drop.
See?
I think it was a visual glitch, but
I told you it was there. I didn't say how long it was going to last for or all that sort of jazz. No, you were right. So you got me today. You got me today. You were 100% correct. Jeff was correct for once. There was no rain in the race. So
sadly, not today. Maybe next week.
But you good to see in Mexico. Do you like wearing the sombrero on the podium there? And you didn't drink? You're supposed to drink from a shoe because that's the mandatory requirement from Daniel Ricciardo if you're going to be in a McLaren.
Yeah, that's true. I drank the shoe as the car was going up onto the podium.
Oh wow, that's right. It does too. It gets lifted up there, doesn't it? Fantastic. All right. Well, good on you. Any other words? You're showing under El France nationality. Are you from France?
I'm born in France, but I live in Ireland right now. But I have an American accent, so
I know. Yeah, you're like all over the place. I was like, so you don't sell French, but yeah, that's great. I mean, that's the beauty of the world today, isn't it? We live in multiple places and multiple cultures, and it just makes us all. I mean, I'm Australian living in Panama and stuff, so it goes to show you we can be anywhere. Congratulations, well done, race win. I hope you'll be in a full-time seat next week. If you obviously 2S want to have you a part of the family, no doubt. I'm sure they would.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All right, thank you guys. That's it from me. That's it from the 2S. That's it from my co-commentator. That's it from Ted. Thank you, Ted, down there. That's it from all the fantastic crew here in Mexico. And well, next week we're going to be zooming it down in Panama, of course, for the surprise race that the drivers aren't aware of. So make sure you tune into that one. And if that doesn't occur, we'll flip it and perhaps we'll do Brazil because Interlagos is a fantastic track. Thank you. Take care.